Welcome to the ITM Podcast.
This is episode 203 of the ITM Podcast, the official Boston Red Sox podcast of the CLNS Media Network, brought to you by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Network, and by Game Time, the best place to get tickets. Sports, concerts, all your favorite events. My name is Joey Capone. That's Scott Neville. And Scott, I have a secret to tell you. It's not a secret. I tweeted it. I'm in. I'm fully in. I'm bought in.
Yeah, I was excited when I saw that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did see that you were in, and it's something that it's good because you've been I weirdly I feel like I've been the more optimistic of the two, and that certainly hasn't been the case the last 2-3 years. I feel like I'm usually more pessimistic about this grouping, this regime. But no, here we go.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party, dude. It's pretty fun.
Hey, well, thank you. I'll say this. The past couple of years beat me down pretty good because, like you said, I was like super optimistic about the 22 and 23. Like both trade deadlines, I was like, push in. This team could get into the wild card, could surprise people. And I think a little bit of it was like the 21, not hangover, but like whatever the opposite of a hangover is, the residual. I was still drunk on 2021. I woke up still drunk. And now I felt like in 24, I was like, okay, I'm over it. Now I'm just hungover and I'm pissed off because it's the same thing again and again. Obviously, a gross off season, and I didn't want to believe out of the gate. Even this like 7-3 on the road to start the year, like I just didn't want to buy in. I just didn't want to believe it. It's like I'm not going to get my hopes up again to get hurt. And when I say I've bought in, by the way, I'm not saying they're like a World Series team. I'm not even really saying they're a playoff team. But they have my heart, which, full transparency, for the first month was hard to do. Like, for one thing, the like I mentioned, the past couple of years bleeding in was tough. Also, covering the Bruins more right now, it is a little tough to be watching a team that like was among the best in the league and is like favored to win it all. Maybe not like the favorite, but high up there to win it all. And then like muster up some excitement for a team that is still projected to finish last in their division. Like it just is it is a different wavelength to come in with. And like I was aware of that when I picked up more Bruins stuff, but I didn't know what it would feel like. But now, Scott, I don't know what it was with this series. I was already on the verge a little bit before. It was basically since like the Pirates sweep that I was like, man, if they can keep getting hurt, and man, if this team just keeps getting hurt, then I'm gonna buy it.
As long as they don't stay healthy, I feel good about this team.
But it's like if they're gonna stay hurt and stay winning, like how do you not? Like when you just keep adding more and more guys to the IL and their record just keeps getting better and better. It's like, all right, at a certain point, I just got to be like, there was no moment that was like incredibly convincing in this series, but it's a cumulative effect where I'm like, all right, like I can't deny it anymore. I can't sit here and like say, well, a day will come and like things will even out. Like I think they're good. I think they're a good team.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you. You kind of answered it, but when you say you're in, do you think there's a greater than 50% chance that they make the playoffs? Like, are you 51% playoff chance odds right now? Is that where you're at?
That's tough. It's tough because, I mean, standings in May mean nothing. But if it ended today, they'd be in. But also, the A's are chasing second in their division right now, so it's really hard. The Astros are in last place, so it's tough. I don't know if I could put it one way or the other away from 50, which sucks because again, it's what we said in 22 and it's what we said in 23. Kind of feels right now like a coin flip. My whole thing has been like, yeah, Bailey adjusted these guys, but what happens when guys adjust to their adjustments and they start to get figured out a little bit and the scouting report updates a little bit? It's been enough starts where the scouting report probably should have been updated, and people really aren't still getting to the Boston Red Sox pitching staff. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to see ERAs climb over 162, but that's because not necessarily the performance is going to slowly get worse, but just because there'll be that one game where there's a, Cutter gives up, 4 or 5 in an inning, and then he just can't get back to a 1.5 ERA, 1 ERA, whatever. But I agree. I do think in the sense of outside of the actual ERA, I do think it's fairly sustainable performance. There might be some clunkers that kind of ruin the overall numbers, but on the day to day, do you feel like you're going to win with Cutter? No, actually, because every time he's pitches well, they lose almost.
Right.
I think they haven't won yet if he doesn't give up a run, but he gave up runs and
Mhm.
they won. So
They
that's
won.
good. Glad he's doing that. I told you that Logan Webb, not to get too into the game by game, but I told you
Good.
that Cooper Criswell versus Logan Webb is a mismatch. They don't want that. And what happened? They said, Logan Webb, yeah, you're going to need a little bit more than a runner-up, pal, to take us out.
I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable that like we not to imply that you were joking around when you said that. I don't want to
Mm-mm.
say
Wasn't.
that.
Wasn't.
But it's crazy that we were talking about Criswell versus Logan Webb being a mismatch, and their final lines, Logan Webb went 3 2/3, 9 hit, 4 earned runs, 3 walks. Criswell 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk. That's silly. That's silly. And it's I think the biggest difference this year, I mean, it's obviously the pitching, right? It's obviously the pitching, but more specifically than that, it's the fact that on those TBD days, it's night and day how different I feel. Like having Josh Winkowski, having Cooper Criswell, having anybody start, like there's an upcoming TBD start in the middle of the who are they? The Twins series coming up, and I feel zero worry about it. I'm like, well, whoever it is, they'll be fine. I just know that they'll be good. It's just consistent. It's an organizational change, and the bats are actually alive. And when those things, here's the thing. This is some serious baseball analysis. Listen up, perk those ears up. When the pitching's doing good, and the bats are doing good, that's kind of how you win games. See those
Celebrate.
balloons? There you go. It's a
Time to
celebration.
celebrate.
I'm a little frozen, but there we go. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I just feel very different about this team than I did a few weeks ago.
I think what they have done, what I would say is it feels like the injuries, not to say that like Devers won't just like tear his ACL tomorrow, because that just feels par for the course,
Sure.
but which we have to talk about some things that happened injury related. But it feels like now we're getting to the point where we're hearing a lot more about starting rehab, when they're going to be activated,
Mm-hmm.
versus people being placed on it. Now we're still losing guys left and right, but
Sure.
it feels like the position player depth is going back up. Part of that was bevy of external additions that we made, but also like that's the part that's always concerned me. It's like, how are you going to survive with this infield group? The outfield has the ability to survive an injury, maybe two. The infield is the problem. The backstop tandem is maybe the best in the league
Mm-hmm.
ever, I think. And the pitching, it's how I feel with like Bill Belichick on defense, where it's like I don't even care if it's Sean Wade or Stephon Gilmore. He's gonna put them in the right position. He's gonna give them all the keys to be successful, and then they just gotta go out and do exactly what he says. And then there's a little bit of execution, but so far there hasn't been much trouble executing. It's just been usually when you say something like just don't walk guys, that's a lot harder to execute than it has been for these guys. They're just like, oh, we stop walking guys. Yeah, we can try that this year. Let's throw that out there, see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's worked for some reason. Yeah, I think even I don't know if you've heard. Did you hear Cutter's interview today about when he was asked He was like, they were like, "Did you expect to be the best in the league?" And he was like, I thought like the good players would be good, but the bad players, I didn't expect them to be good. That's basically he was like,
Yeah.
the TBD starts, I didn't expect to go. I forget exactly what he said, but it was along the lines of like, yeah, I knew like the guys we had were gonna do well, but I didn't expect like he basically said like Chris Wells surprised me.
Yeah, it basically said like the fact that the bums are doing good is
Yeah, he
crazy.
was like, I didn't think Winkowski was a starter. I mean, you guys were here a couple of years ago. Are we kidding me? You didn't
I
think that
mean,
either.
Tanner Houck is probably the biggest on that list. Like, I did anybody say at the beginning of this year, like, I think the biggest surprise of this team is going to be that Tanner Houck is like in the top 10 for ERA and for WHIP and for strikeout. Like, no, nobody said that.
I was furious that they put this team in a position to put Houck and Whitlock
Yep.
as starters because I didn't know that Andrew Bailey had spells that he could cast. That, to be fair, in my analysis. But what do they say? 2023 and prior. What is Houck's problem? He sucks when he pitches deep into games. So why go into a year where you are going to ask him to pitch deep into games every fifth day, face the third time over, or plan on having a guy only go through it twice and then be done in the fourth or fifth inning? Now, again, did not know Andrew. I didn't know a pitching coach could have the impact that Andrew Bailey's had. Like, genuinely, that's been the most surprising part. It's not, I didn't know about Andrew Bailey. I have never seen coaching matter more in baseball than Andrew Bailey so far. And I don't think that's even close to an exaggeration.
Let me give you some stats on Tanner Houck in terms of longevity, right? Like, because the third time through the order thing is the big thing that everybody did talk about in the past.
Right.
2021, third time through the order, 27 ERA.
Not good.
2022, third time through the order, 27 ERA. 2023, third time through the order, 12.74 ERA. 2024, it's 386.
Yeah, I mean, you just
Stunning.
can't plan. You can't plan for that. I mean, you can feel good that like if you remember, this was going way back, but I think my weird take was when we did the season predictions was we might not know, like we might come out of this year not knowing as what we'd hoped because there were so many players where it was like, will Cutter take a step up? Will Bayo take a step up? Will Tanner, Whitlock, will they take a step up? And then
Yeah.
same with plenty, Willier, stuff like that. I was worried about a Willier platoon limiting, which we saw the first couple of weeks where it was like he plays every like third day. You still don't really know how good he is. But the alternative side of that is that all of these guys are playing regularly. They're not performing in that area where it's kind of like, like if you're a starting pitcher with like a 4 or 5 ERA, it's like you're right on the fringe of you could take a step up and be like a legit guy, or you could just be a middling to bad pitcher. And that's kind of where we saw Houck, Whitlock, Cutter was a little bit better than that. And then, with Bayo, he was like a 3-4 guy or whatever, but you were hoping he was an ace. So it's still, you were hoping for that jump. And we've so far early on seen jumps from all of those guys. And Willier's just as good as he was supposed to be. So, Rafaela is like the one where I think we might not know.
Sorry, I froze there. I don't know if am I back?
I think that was me. My camera spun. Was I talking
Okay.
still?
No, because I thought I froze. I don't know. One of us froze there. But
Okay.
I think, I mean, personally, I remember saying like Cutter as the 5 leaves you in a really good spot. Like he's the guy that has shown that like he has the potential to be a legit guy, and having Houck and Whitlock in the bullpen to step in with an injury is great. Like having a 6-7
Where Winkowski is right now.
Yeah. Like having a 6th, 7th guy be those guys, I was like, that seems legitimate because having, someone like Tanner Houck take a step forward to a place where, through 6 starts, he has a 1-something ERA. That's pretty unrealistic. And then, when it came out that was not the case and they were done adding starting pitching, it was, again, I hate to keep making these same comparisons, but it was a lot like the beginning of 2023 where we were like, you can get optimistic about this team, but there's a list of ifs. And the more ifs that you add and the more legs of your parlay that you add, the less likely it gets to hit. And right now, or then it was like for this team to be good, what Bayo has to take a step forward, Cutter has to take a step forward, Houck has to take, like, all these things have to go right on the pitching side, and like someone like Greg Weissert has to come out and just be good. But Zach Kelly's going to come up and be good, and then Willier
Not
Abreu's
today.
just going to keep mashing like last year, and every single one of those things so far has hit.
Yeah, the reason why I had the take I had with the bold predictions was it was kind of along the same things. It was you can get optimistic or pessimistic about this team because you don't know anything about this team. Like
Right.
it's hard. It's hard if you have to buy into the idea. And I hate to use your boy here, especially after today's news. But if
Oh,
you're
no.
going into the year saying, "Oh, well, maybe Bobby takes a step up," you have a lot of proof that that's not going to happen. So it's no offense,
Easy.
man. I'm so sorry to say that example. I didn't think of anything else. I'll say Reese McGuire, but he's been hitting like 300 this year, and he has
There's
pretty
just
much
no
his
other
whole Red
examples.
Sox
Yeah, there's
tenure.
just no other
Yeah.
examples.
So it was just like if your plan is for just bad players to just randomly be good, that's not going to happen. But some rookie, some kid that had 50 at bats last year, you can say, "Wow, we don't know anything about this guy. He's probably not major league ready." Or you can be like, "Hey, what if this guy just hits?"
Yeah.
And that's why it was a weird year to go into. But the previous 2 years told you, "Hey, I feel like we're doing what we've been doing before, and it didn't work at all. So why would we feel good about this?"
Yeah.
The one thing that scares me though is that the 17-13 record got me excited because everyone was getting excited, and I looked at the
Mhm.
standings and I'm like, we're tied with the Tigers and we're a game behind the Royals. Is that sustainable? Like it's one of those
Mhm.
things where you feel good about the early performance, but then you look at the standings and you go, is that probably how it's going to look in August, September? I don't think so.
I
I
mean,
do think the Astros are dead. They've dug themselves into too big of a hole.
listen, I think somebody said that at the beginning of the year. One of the people on this show made a really good big prediction about how the Astros wouldn't make the
Was I
postseason.
there yet?
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Yep. And
I
you were like, I'm pretty sure the Astros are favored to win that division. And I was like, don't care. They're not making it.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. I do
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, though. It really doesn't matter. I haven't been thinking about it a lot. Just some quick stats here on the pitching, just to wrap up the pitching conversation. Boston Red Sox pitching staff, best ERA in baseball, 2.58 ERA. Their WHIP is second in the majors, 109 behind the Seattle Mariners, and in terms of average, they are sixth, with batters hitting 219 against them. Unbelievable. But the Cutter interview, though, one quick thing on that, very much worth mentioning. We got to stop interviewing pitchers during the game. They give up bombs two times. Two times it
Yep.
happened. 2 for 2 this series. You interview a pitcher, the guy on the mound gives up a bomb, and the pitcher who's talking doesn't recognize the fact that they need to stop talking and let the call be made. They just keep talking through it, which crazy, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they're not media professionals like ourselves. Like, we would have the wherewithal to, do that, but you can't expect
Yeah,
Cutter. It's one thing to learn and spend your life being a professional baseball player, dedicate, since you were 7, but you can't just walk into this, media game and know what you're doing. There's nothing harder than being a blogger, podcaster, like sideline
right.
reporter. There's nothing harder in sports than doing that. We have to get up for 162 as well.
We have to stay up for him too. We have to stay up through him in September of 2023. So, I mean,
We podcast way more per year than he starts. Way
How
more.
often how often do guys talk about how hard it is to sit on the bench and watch a game, right? Or like former players are like, oh, excuse me, like now that like I'm up here in the booth, like, man, the game is slow. Like, how often do you hear that? It's
Oh, a
hard for
lot.
it's hard
And
for us.
it's also like, it's a long season for us too. Like
Mhm.
it's about our rehab and recovery. Like we got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And you don't see us getting hurt every 5 seconds. We're here
Mm.
we're here twice a week. We can't just be like, "Oh, my shoulder hurts today." Not
Nope.
going to happen. You know how
Not
many
gonna happen.
DMs we would get? Like 3 probably if we just didn't post.
5.
Maybe.
I could picture it now.
Yeah, that's real hate. I don't know what you guys hear in the games, but
Hey, higher or lower than 3.5 TMs do you think we would get?
total, I think higher.
Higher? I love making those kinds of picks like that. And you know a great place to do that?
Yeah, I think I do. Is it called Prize Picks?
It's Prize Picks. Let's take a quick break. Talk to our good friends over at Prize Picks.
Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks is so easy to play. I can make my Celtic picks and make my entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals and easy gameplay and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. Celtics and NBA fans, you can get in on Prize Picks in 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. On Prize Picks this week, I'm selecting Jason Tatum to dish out more than 5 assists and his teammate Jaylen Brown to have more than 22.5 points. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Prize Picks.
All right, one last thing on just how hot this team has been, because there are other things to talk about. There's some personnel changes. I don't know if you noticed, but one last thing here. This is from Brian Barrett. This is coming into Thursday's game, so this is before the Red Sox completed the ITM special, in which they win a series and lose on record day. But this isn't your typical ITM special, because usually like that loss kind of takes the wind out of the sails. Didn't care today. Didn't care. Like they in the ninth, I would have loved if they won, but in the ninth, like basically when Reese got 2 strikes, I was like, oh, okay, it's over, but that's all right. That's okay. Anyway, coming into Thursday, Brian Barrett tweeted that since the start of the Pirates series, the Red Sox are batting .299, which is first in the bigs, a .374 OBP, second in the bigs, a .485 slug, second in the bigs, and an .858 OPS, also second in the bigs. Thanks in part to one Mr. Connor Wong, who over his last 13 games is hitting .396 with an 11-11 OPS, 10 ribs, 2 doubles, 4 homers. God bless. God bless. All right. Some new faces here, Scott. Basically 3 new faces. Because we talked, did we talk about Cooper on the last show? We did, right?
Yeah.
We hadn't seen him yet, though.
No, we hadn't seen him, and we were hyped because we were gonna, against Logan Webb, we were gonna deploy Vaughn Grisham.
Yes.
And Gary Cooper, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm. But
and didn't happen. Didn't happen though.
Didn't happen. Grissom, by the way, it's so hard to judge these things because I'm going to sound like a huge hypocrite here, but over in Hockeyland USA, as we call it, Austin Matthews, right? I'm sure you know all this, Scott. I'm preaching to the choir here. You're aware of this. Austin Matthews has sat for games 5 and 6 of the Bruins Leafs series.
That one's real. I did know that. I got friends in group chats,
and it's because of illness.
And I don't know anyone else. But I know him.
Oh, come on! You're a huge Matthew Nyes guy. You were stoked when he got the OT winner.
He's the second best player.
No, he's probably the 5th or 6th, but no, not even.
Not 5th or 6th,
yeah. Anyway, people in the Toronto media are all over him and are like, he's faking it. It's not real. He quit on this team. And I spent a good portion of my energy of the week being like, how stupid are you people? You think that he just wouldn't do that? You think that they're just lying to you? You think he's not actually sick? But now I'm going to go on this show and be like, I don't know. Do you think Von Grissom has the flu? Do you think he really has the flu? What do you think? Because I don't really know.
Do, but it just, like, we had the same reaction when it happened because for 20 minutes, and I listened back to it, we spent a long time talking about how much Von Grisham was definitely not going to play, which I feel great about in hindsight. We spent a lot of time specifically talking about how, Von Grisham's coming back. allegedly. And then we were like, Cora's been, not super accurate with his own information this year. And then it happened again. And yes, it feels like, I think it is just something where people are just sick of the back and forth. And so now it just feels like there's something going on. There's probably not. But especially when you have that and the Yoshida thing happening where it's just there's a lot of, Devers thing was weird,
Yeah.
injuries. It's just a lot of mysterious stuff going on where if this was my first baseball season, I'd be like, just don't listen to the managers talk. Like that would be my if I just didn't know anything about previous years, I'd be like, okay, so
Mhm.
you just can't listen to them. You got to take everything with not even with a grain of salt, you just ignore it. But
Yeah.
no, it's just a weird anomaly year that just there's always 1 to 2 guys where you just can't trust the information surrounding them.
I mean,
Casas
Cassis
too.
was yeah, exactly. Yeah, Cassis was a weird situation too, where it was like, he's probably fine. Actually, we think he's gonna die. Actually, it's just a strain. Actually, it's a break. Actually, it was a car accident.
In
So
his
that was
body without a car.
he manufactured a car accident within his rib cage. So that was another weird one. But dude, to your point, really quick before because I got some other Grissom thoughts, but one of the things that made me like really want to buy into this team right now is kind of the mentality that you just said. Like, if this was my first year watching baseball, like if I was a neutral fan, if I was raised in Wyoming and I just didn't have a team, I just loved the game of baseball, I think I would be genuinely attracted to the Boston Red Sox right now. Like, I would want to know about that team because they did have such a weird offseason. They did upset their fans so much. They are winning with so many injuries. Like, it's an appealing story. And all the off the field stuff is really intriguing. Like all of the weird, not misleading, but I guess misleading
Yeah, misleading.
reports. Yeah. There's a lot of conflicting stuff. Like it's intriguing. There's a lot going on right now. Like if
It's
you
gonna be a good Netflix special.
come on. Come on. I forget about the Netflix special relatively often.
Oh, always. There was the last time I think I thought of it before I just said that right then was when I wasn't gonna be at opening day and I was like, I bet there's gonna be a lot of cameras there. That
Yeah,
was the
I
last time
mean,
I thought of it.
it crosses my mind every now and again where I'm like, I get when times were tough, which is I don't know, for a fucking week ago or two. Like
Yeah.
I was like, man, what are they filming right now? Are they filming Cassis being like in the doctor's office? Like where are they? Are they traveling like with guys individually? How far are they following them off the field? Like I don't know. I'm very excited for it, to be honest with you, because there is just so much. But the Grissom thing, I don't know. It might be searching for something where there isn't something, but they haven't given us a reason to think that it's not something yet, just because of how weird all the quotes have been and how often things have changed. It just there's no reason to believe that they're being truthful, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I don't know, it's built up, but he's supposed to be back now with the Twins. He was getting some pregame work in, fielding and such. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, a lot of new faces, and he's going to be the most appealing by far.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But in a similar way, before we get to the other new faces, just because you brought them up, and I think it's a similar vein. Yoshida was placed on the IL. According to Ian Brown, surgery not ruled in or out, which I will say is wording that I have never heard. I have never heard
Yeah,
somebody say that surgery has been ruled in.
it
But
feels like he just would like you could say that about anyone the second they hit the I guess in most injuries it would be automatically ruled out. But you're just saying there could or could not be surgery here, which is true of all injuries.
yeah, I mean, you could say that
So,
about me today.
but
I'm not sure if I'm
but
getting surgery or not.
that was alarming because it from my understanding was like a finger jam. Like, what are we talking about? And this is a
Yeah.
perfect example of everything we just talked about, which is, yeah, we don't remember which at bat he hurt it. He's, we'll see, and then might need surgery. What are we doing?
I have no idea. That was crazy too. That Cora was like, "Yep, it was his second at bat," which he didn't need to say. He didn't need to specify which one. He could have just been like, "Yeah, he jammed it at some point." Like he was like, "It was his second at bat that he hurt his hand." And they asked Yoshida, and he's like, "It was the first at bat in which I hurt my hand." Like,
And
do
then
we
he
need to
stayed
just
in,
have?
which how did it get to surgery? If he was because he like you said, you also noted he was ready to go for the third at bat, like he was on deck, right, or like in the like had his
Yeah,
helmet on in the dugout.
yeah.
So like I mean, sometimes obviously there's adrenaline, whichever, and then it hurts more, and or there's more of a ligament thing where it doesn't hurt as bad as it is an injury. But
Mhm.
I don't know, like kind of a strange development there that I don't think anybody was like, oh man, I think Yoshida's going to be gone for the long term.
I will say though, with this, my overall reaction to it isn't. I'm not even really focused on how weird it is because I've just accepted that like everything is going to be super weird that's injury related. All of the talk from anybody with the team is going to be strange. Whoop, was that me?
It completely froze there. I
All
have
right.
no idea if it
Well,
was you or me. I am in a
well,
storm.
internet troubles today. Yeah, you know what? I think it's me too. I think we both got some internet troubles going on. So sorry, folks. It might actually be fine for you guys listening, but I don't know. I can't help but point it out.
Local
The thing that
recordings.
I'm focused on with Yoshida is not that stuff. It's the fan reaction because I get it. Everybody's hurt. It's unprecedented what's going on right now. And I know we all want to react to the fact that, oh man, there's another injury, another guy going on the IL. And it does stink for him. I feel bad for him, but like he's not playing. He's not playing. So it's just so far from a devastating injury, which is how I feel like we were all reacting to it.
Yeah, it's crazy. For me, I would say this. I think I had him as my team MVP going into the year. I thought he was going to make a
Yeah.
huge difference. I But I agree where we haven't seen him for like 2 weeks and it hasn't mattered, and the fit is so weird. I am kind of like lukewarm on it. Obviously, you want him for his perspective. I still think he's a good player. I don't think he's really
Yeah.
demonstrated. He had a tough second half and he didn't get off to a great start. So there is like you can do a sample size like starting probably from July to now. His numbers are probably, he's probably a below average hitter by a decent margin. But we've seen what he's capable of, and I still think that's gonna, he's had 1 year in the big leagues. He's gonna get better. Uh, but at the same time, if you tell me he's out for 3 weeks, I don't feel like our win-loss record takes much of a change, especially because
No.
Cora won't use him in the field, and he doesn't want to DH him over Ref Snyder or some of these other options. So, yeah, is there going to be a game where Well, no, it's not going to be a game where Dalbec
Stop.
DHs. But there's gonna be a game where you see like Cooper and Dominic Smith, and you're like, I would love Yoshida to be one of those spots, but yeah. Other than that, who cares?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at is like it doesn't it I have faith in Yoshida. I don't like the way that the team has treated him. I'll say it, every opportunity that I get that I think that if they have given up on him, which seems to be like the general consensus, if their opinion of him it has turned towards the negative, I think that that's unfair and I think that they should have him out there. But it seems pretty clear that they're not chomping at the bit to get him on the field or to get him to the plate.
Yeah.
So if he's not going to be playing, then him sitting for 3 weeks versus him getting 20 plate appearances over those 3 weeks, like it doesn't matter all too much. It doesn't matter all too much. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. I hope he's fine. I hope he doesn't need surgery. But
Yeah.
I would like him to be a regular contributor to this team, but it takes more than him being healthy. It takes the team also wanting to put him on the field. There's the quote card. How about that? When I put a sentence together, sometimes I shock myself because a lot of the times I don't.
I think you shock
no,
everybody.
It should shock everybody. I got no like coherent thoughts rattling in here. I just have feelings that pop up from my heart into my mouth, and my brain's like, I got to make sense of this. How do I do this? And then it comes out of my face into a microphone and into a camera. And that was just a coherent thought. My God, I'm going to spend the rest of the show patting myself on the back for having a good sentence on this show. Before we get to the other, actually, you know what? No, let's keep going because there's a couple other things that we can save for later in the show. These new guys, these new folks, Zach Short Dom Smith, both acquired by the Boston Red Sox. And you've seen them both now if you've been watching at home, which I imagine you have. Hard not to be a 162 guy this season, guy or gal. Hard not to, because there's so much happening and things change so rapidly. You got to pay attention. You can't miss an episode of the show. It's like Breaking Bad. You can't just tune in and be like, oh, what did I miss? Bro, a lot. Go back and watch. You gotta keep up here. Anyway, they added a couple of guys. Short traded for cash from the New York Metropolitans. Dom Smith opted out of a deal with the Miami Marlins. I'll say this, Scott.
Wasn't it the Rays? Am I tripping?
Was it the Rays?
Let me check now.
It was a fish team in Florida. That's
Rays.
I thought it was
Yeah, okay.
Miami.
Glad I
It was
caught that
Tampa?
because you would have gotten hundreds of hate like DMs and messages. People would have been like, "You're wrong, Joey. You're wrong."
You wouldn't
Hey, nice
believe it.
sentence, dickhead. You got that next sentence wrong though.
Honestly, the DMs probably would have been like, "Hey, that was a really great sentence. I did want to let you know, though." The fans they're very nice to me. Everyone's very nice to me. No one's ever been mean to me in my life. I get what I want. People are nice to me always. So if you want to send me a DM, just remember you got to be nice. Everybody's always nice to me. So yeah, it's the Rays. He opted out of a deal with the Rays, which makes a lot more sense because I did think as I wrote this down, which I was doing from memory, which is probably it's on me. I was thinking like opted out with the Marlins. That sucks. If a guy is not on the big league roster with the Marlins, how is he going to contribute here? Because people seemed higher on Dom Smith than they did on Zach Short, which I understand. But I wanted to say this, Guy. I wanted to say this. If nothing else, you can say that this team is trying more than they have in prior years. That's for damn sure. In years past, the Sox would just keep rolling out Pablo Reyes and Manuel Valdez and just saying fuck it. Adding 2 major league bats is legitimately more of an immediate return than in most trade deadlines past.
One bat, one glove. Zach Short.
Technically 2 bats.
No, I will say this is what I've been begging for a long. This is all I've asked for. Like I understand you can't always have great depth everywhere, but just try. And so I do have one thing. You're just gonna be surprised. I actually wrote down stats, numbers.
Oh,
I don't
damn.
do this
Okay,
usually.
let's hear them.
Usually I show up in the second chair and I say I can just make jokes, but I thought, I got 5 minutes. Let me put some effort into this program.
Did you think there's no way Joe wrote down stats for Zach Short or Dom Smith? Because you'd be right.
I thought, I guarantee you didn't have this one. A lot of people are gonna. First of all, first stat is number 2. Dom Smith looks awesome in number 2. I don't know if you've seen that. He looks unbelievable. He's so big and strong.
I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of Dom Smith jerseys in the past couple of days. So that was pretty stunning how fast the folks got those. I'll say that.
Incredible that they even had him in the team store. I mean, he wasn't even here yet. Yeah. So I like a lot.
They knew he was coming.
Yeah. I like what we did a lot at first base, even though I'm not particularly in love with either player. But Dom Smith versus righties, 263 with a 737 OPS. That's a 102 split OPS plus, OPS plus. Split relative, technically, is what they call it. So how does the league fare against right-handed pitching? He's 2% better, which league average, I mean, when you roll out the schmuck we had before, you'd love that.
You're talking about Manuel Valdez, right?
Nope, I'm talking about first base. And then Garrett Cooper versus...
You couldn't be talking about first base because that guy was hitting 316 over his last 8 games.
Right. And then he played a lot more games than that. And then Garrett Cooper, I don't know if you've seen these numbers. He's got a little Rob Refsnyder in him. He hits 324 with a 904 OPS against lefties. That's a 143 split relative OPS plus, which means against the league relative to left-handed pitching.
Right.
So, one guy that's just a touch above right-handed pitching, and another guy that absolutely is 43% better than the average person against left-handed pitching. That's a good platoon you're putting there. One guy that can serve that's league average, and the other guy is really going to do some damage. Those are based on last year's numbers, by the way. Those are 2023 numbers, but both of them have similar career splits. And so you've basically what happens when you have injuries or you're just, it's not a good free agent class or whatever the situation, you can't get just a serviceable everyday player. You find a way to put it together. And this platoon combined, these two players combined, make up a very, very solid major league player. And that's a great way to survive the Casas injury. Now, Zach Short, you just hope he doesn't make errors, and that's really the plan with him. Now you got Grisham, you got Rafaela every day, and he's just a utility guy if people stay healthy, which feels impossible, but it shouldn't be. So the Zach Short one, I'm not in love with, but it's better than, would I rather have him than David Hamilton? Sure. Would I rather have him than Pablo? I don't know. That's personal pride.
Listen, a league average glove at the bottom of your order as a utility guy, not an everyday guy.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Like, there's nothing more frustrating than guys being bad at defense. There's just and when you've seen it a lot. Like, I'm tired of seeing bad defense. So if you can roll out a guy who's a league average glove and he's hitting eighth, who cares? And it's every once in a while.
Also, Romy Gonzalez just started rehabbing, so
come on.
I know a lot of people, he played like 2 games for us, but I actually think he's going to be much better than Zach Short take his spot. He's somebody that has upside offensively. I don't know that he's going to reach it, but he's also a very slick defender with versatility. So I think he's a guy that has the ability to potentially exceed, that like 70 OPS plus utility guy. Could actually be closer to a league average bat and is going to do his job defensively. So even Zach Short, he's probably a guy that at the end of it, he's not even in the dock because he only played 10 games.
I like what we're doing here. I'll tell you, as the team starts to look like what it's supposed to, even minus Trevor Story, even minus Tristan Casas for a little bit, it's hard not to be optimistic. It's hard not to be optimistic.
I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but Pivetta, 4-inning rehab start today. That's the plan.
He did. And the plan is for him to have one more, right? So he probably should be up here in 2 weeks.
I'm sure it'll go exactly as planned.
Yeah. I don't know why. I genuinely believe. I said that like I believed it, and I meant it. So thank you for bringing me to earth. Thank you.
Did you hear that they're trying to carve out some room for Emmanuel Valdez?
I'm sorry?
Well, they put him in Worcester.
Right.
And they're going to have him start playing first and outfield again, like he used to play. When I remember when they traded for him, and Cora said specifically so that he has a larger chance of making it back up, which I don't know if you've ever seen more praise from a defender. Looking at the tweets and the things that Cora has said and reporters and stuff, you would think this guy went from, like Jaron Duran 2 years ago to Jared Duran last year.
Yeah.
He has a -1 defensive run saved. He's still below average at second base. And people are acting like he's elevated into some elite level defender because he can make most of the routine plays.
Most of them. But the eyeball test would tell you that he's made some ugly ass plays this year. So
absolutely,
it was strange when Cora said,
and
I think he said night and day from where he was defensively last year.
He was awful at first, third, and outfield before.
Am I here again? Oh my God. So bad. So sorry, everybody. But Cora, I believe the words he used were night and day defensively from last year. No. Is that?
He went. Okay, so I told you he's at -1 defensive run save last year. Did you know what he was last year?
-6.
-3. So just a little better.
That's night to evening is what that is.
Right. It went from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock with the sun setting at 6:15. It's just okay. That's a little bit different.
It's dusk to twilight. It's not. Yeah, he's still bad. So Your eyes will tell you that. The stats will tell you that. Yeah. So farewell, Valdez, because I don't think we talked. I guess not farewell. See you soon, I guess.
Yeah.
Very cool. So weird how different Cora talked about Pablo versus Emmanuel. Like, I get it. I get it, but I also don't get it. Like, I think they're both should be guys that's like, hey, thanks for filling the role, but we got to get real major leaguers here. Like, that should be like the narrative, probably a little more coherent, like a little nicer than that. But I think it should be like, thank you guys for your service. We'll see you on the other side. And it's so weird. Cora was like, Valdez is going to be back. He's a major leaguer. He will be back night and day. Gold glove, book it. Also, Pablo Reyes, fuck that guy. Never bring him back here. He sucked. He never found it. He was supposed to get better. Didn't. Goodbye. Good riddance. Like, I don't know if we needed that big of a disparity in how we talk about those two guys. Am I wrong?
No, I would agree. And I think it's a little bit much to be like, it's okay, guys. We're sending them down, but we're going to find more ways to get them on the field. You know, like, I don't think any of the fans were like, oh, thank God. Okay. Like that's not exactly music to people's ears. Craziest part about this whole thing. Did David Hamilton survive this?
I think technically.
Because he's been the one that hasn't played at all in any capacity. Like, Valdez was still getting time right up until the end. Pablo was still getting time right up until the end. Dalbec played today.
Oh, right. With Bob gone. I was thinking like they still need to make one more move, but no, if Bob is optioned, then no, David Hamilton's still here.
Bob for Vaughn, Zach. Who did Zach replace?
Valdez or Reyes. Yeah, it's short and
Valdez,
Smith.
and then Smith went for Yoshida. So yeah, David Hamilton just survived, which is crazy. I guess just a pinch run.
I guess. When was the last time David Hamilton played?
It's been a few games.
Let's check it out. Check it out.
I feel like we're not going to talk about it. It's crazy that we're like 49 minutes in and we haven't even mentioned on the field stuff, except for like that 1 minute we talked about Logan Webb versus Chris Well.
They looked great. Great stuff, everybody. Hitting the ball, fielding the ball, pitching the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looked great. Is that enough?
Yeah, I mean, the only note I have is just that, like, if we just took pitches like we did against Logan Webb against everybody, I don't think we'd ever lose a game. That's how the 2013 team won. They didn't have the offensive talent that even this team probably has, and they just said, what if we just make the starter throw 100 pitches in the first 5 innings, and then we just take care of the bullpen? And then that's what and then against the Giants, it was the decision to just be like, Logan Webb's pretty good. What if we just try and get his pitch count up and get him out as soon as we can because we have a better shot against the other guys?
You know what's funny is I saw a stat that was like Bob started taking first pitches something like 58% of the time. And in those, he fell behind 0-1 in like 80% of.
Well, that's different.
Yeah, it's so funny that he was like, I know what I'm gonna do. I see what you guys are doing. We'll make them throw to me. Yep, I will. Hey, try to get ahead in the count. I dare you. And then they did. They threw him strikes.
Oops.
Yep.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
I mean, obviously
one in
there's
there,
different.
fouled away. Here we go.
But at the same time, you know, like obviously Devers isn't going to get a fastball right down the middle because they can't just do that. You can do that to Bobby. As long as you throw over 93, you can get it by him. But
not even, dude. There was a pitch in this series. There was like 2 or 3 that were like 92, like belt high, right down the middle, and he just looked at him. So,
yeah, I mean, he's not good, and you're a great guy though.
Great. Well, yeah, good guy.
Good. He's okay. His personality went down with his play, which I could understand.
Yeah, hard to be the heartthrob when you know.
He was a lot more accessible to media and also just showed more personality when he thought he was the first baseman of the future for the Boston Red Sox, which I understand completely.
Yeah. It does make sense. All right. We got a couple other things to talk about, but first, let's take one more quick break and listen to one hell of an ad read about our good friends over at Game Time.
With the NBA and NHL playoffs underway and the MLB season in full swing, there might be no better time of the year for sports. And there's no better way to experience the games than in person. And to get into the building, there's only one app that I use, and that's Game Time. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, and their lowest priced guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. The very best part, if you ask me, is the ability to get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you even buy. You want to know what your view is going to look like before you get your tickets, and Game Time is there to help you find the perfect seat. And if it's getting close to tip-off, or puck drop, or first pitch, don't worry, because Game Time's last-minute deals can save you up to 60% off when you buy last minute. Tickets are even available up to an hour after the game starts. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
What a read. What a voice.
It was fine.
Do you want to say something too? Do you want to say something about it?
It was fine.
Floor is yours. Sorry, I didn't hear you. You can have a third chance to say something. Floor is yours.
Yeah, it was fine. We should talk about the show.
I thought you
just
said.
about the ad read. Yeah. It was kind of whatever. Probably most people skipped it if I had to guess.
That I wouldn't do that, because then they would have missed out on the deal that is $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, obviously, but $20 off your first purchase with Game Time. Terms apply.
I guess if you're willing to listen to you talk for like an hour, what's 30 more seconds?
Do you want to empty our brains of thoughts?
Are we not going to do like series MVP?
Oh, right. Series MVP, everybody. You got a couple of nominees here. Should we do nominees?
I mean, I think it's when I don't have the stats in front of me, it's nice for you to read them off for my own sake. So, yes.
Sure. Will Abreu had 8 at-bats in this series. I feel like his name comes up a lot when we talk about this. 8 at-bats in this series, 4 hits. That's
Say that again?
8 at-bats, 4 hits.
Okay.
Think about it.
Okay. What if it was what if you divided them
500
both
average?
by 2? It's 500 average. Yeah, that's right.
500
Sorry.
average with a double, a triple, 1 RBI, 1 stolen base, 2 walks. That is a 600 on base percentage, 875 slug, a 1475 OPS. Connor Wong only played in 2 games, but he got 7 ABs, 3 hits, 2 doubles, another RBI for him. It's a 429 average, a 1214 OPS, and 1 Mr. Jaron Duran, 2 RBI, 3 walks. It's a 500 on base percentage, a 1045 OPS. Look, I don't want to be a broken record on this show. It's hard not to go Willier. How do you not? Like, I feel like this happens where like guys will go through stretches where it's just like, 5 series MVPs in a row. And I don't want to take it away from a guy just because I'm tired of giving him the damn award. I think it's Willier Abreu.
I think that's a definitely, yeah, I don't like to do that either. I don't like to, it's the best player. Sometimes MVPs in professional sports get that same treatment where it's like, oh, we can't give it to, Giannis again or Durant or LeBron because they've been too good in the past. It's boring. It's like,
Love
no,
hoop.
I know you know all this.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, LeBron got snubbed this year. I've been saying it.
I wasn't specifically talking about this year, but there's a lot of other years you could argue. I wouldn't say this year. Okay, it's what.
Can't believe
Hey,
they gave the MVP out already too.
2.
You know who it is, dude. Don't do that. It's insulting. That's insulting.
Good point. Yeah, good point. Good point. What I will say though is in terms of impactful hits where I was like, oh, that really like felt like that changed the game.
Mm-hmm.
Connor Wong was kind of the one to me that like stuck out. And I
That
don't know
is true.
if I'm neglecting important hits by Abreu. Obviously, he had, in a series, if he had 500, that's going to be meaningful. It just felt like Connor Wong to me when I was watching. And I feel like he also had his big
You can have
games.
some split MVPs.
He had the first two the games he played in were the games he won. Also, that slide play he made.
Oh
Holy
man,
hell!
we didn't even talk about that. I mean,
We
come
didn't talk
on.
about the games. So, yeah.
Right.
I'm going Connor Wong.
I think that's totally fair, and I think that play does add to it. Did you hear Cutter in his interview being like, "I tried to get him to crack a smile afterwards, and he still wouldn't."
Yeah, what a savage, psycho.
He's a psycho. He's a psycho.
For sale.
He's a baseball robot. I absolutely love it. He's got like the most small dog complex about him, and I love it. He's a 5'9" catcher. Like you need
relate.
it. He's 110 pounds. I don't look it up. You say 5'8"?
I said I can relate.
Oh, I mean, I wasn't gonna bring that up. I wasn't gonna say that. I don't remember. We've only met once or twice. I don't remember.
That is true.
He feels small next to me, dude. So don't even. Wait, you're 6'1".
Say that.
It's not that short.
True. That's true.
All right, we got some split MVPs. Connor Wong coming in with Wilyer Abreu. All right. Well,
I'm gonna say it. Nope.
What?
I'm just gonna get right to it. I'm gonna get right to it because you're gonna try and wrap up the show, and I'm sick of it. We gotta do the pitching preview, Joey.
oh shit! Oh my god. Shit. Oh, okay, folks. It is a trio of games in the Twin Cities. Game 1 is going to be Tanner Houck versus Chris Paddock. Tanner Houck is doing his best to make everybody eat their words as he continues to look unbelievable. ERA is down to 160 through 6 starts. A high-low ERA of Scott?
287.
109.
Yeah.
95th percentile in walk percentage. Chris Paddock, on the other hand, stinks. His curve is, I guess, his best pitch. Opponents are only hitting .313 against it. His fastball accounts for 43% of his pitches, and it gets crushed, followed by his changeup, which gets crushed even more. And he rounds out his arsenal with a slider that, holy shit, batters are slugging 1,000 against. Slugging 1,000 against. Game 2 is going to be TBD versus Pablo Lopez. Tori Belinsky Dinkins. What can you even say? I am running out of things to say. Lots of work this year already, but my God, keep putting them out there. A night and day difference from last year. Pablo Lopez is a good pitcher if you like names instead of results. A 4.83 ERA, 0 scoreless outings thus far, and he is getting hit hard, folks. 30th percentile in average exit velocity and 12th percentile in hard hit percentage. His four-seamer does all the heavy lifting. His changeup ain't bad, and his junk stinks. You heard that right, folks. You heard it here first. Pablo Lopez's junk stinks. And game 3 is Cooper Criswell versus Joe Ryan. I have never said a bad thing about Cooper Criswell. The $1 million man, people are calling him. Have you heard this? $1 million. It's a lot of money, folks. 2 starts, 5 scoreless innings in each of them. Generates a lot of soft contact. You've seen him play. And Joe Ryan has 2 first names and a mustache that belongs on a pirate. His last 4 starts have been against the Tigers and the White Sox, in which he gave up 9 runs in 23 innings. That's a 3.47 ERA. I have seen enough. Dude sucks. And that is going to do it for your pitching preview. Now, the thing is, Scott, although these guys they stink. Who doesn't stink is the Minnesota Twins. Right now, I don't know if you've seen. They are a little hot. They're a little hot right now. Let me get up the actual numbers here. but they were on a 7-game win streak. Let me check in on those old Twinkies and see how they're doing. They won again. So they are on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-game win streak.
Ooh,
They're on a 10-game win streak.
they're due.
Yeah. Their last loss came against the Tigers on what day was this? A long time ago. It was a while ago. They look good. Unfortunately. The one thing is that their bats are getting going against the White Sox, the Angels, the White Sox, the Tigers. That's who this streak is
Terrible
against.
schedule. I mean, that's just whatever.
They played the Orioles not too long ago, swept. They played the Dodgers before that, lost that series. So when you play a good team, it's harder to win. So I'll tell you this straight up off the bat here. Sox win this series. Sox take this series. Sox. Ooh, do I want to go with a road sweep?
I mean, they're on the road. They're better on the road. So if you're gonna
They're
sweep,
a road team. Last time, folks. That's the last time that's going to happen. I'm going with a road sweep. Give it to me.
wow. I'm gonna go with a 2 out of 3. Sox. Although I'm a little worried because I'm not sure who Dinkins will be in this scenario. It can't be Winkowski, and it's not going to be Criswell. So who's our Dinkins for the series?
Slayton complete game shut piece.
I wouldn't bet against it if that's what they were going to go with. It's just that would be my only concern. The other thing is, I don't know if and it might just be one singular game. I've never seen Joe Ryan be anything but the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
I know he complete game shutted us out at some point in his career, and I've never seen him pitch badly. He has a 3.38 ERA on the year. So he has a 3.99 career. He's not like the best pitcher of all time, but I've never seen him pitch poorly in the limited sample size that I'm watching Twins baseball. It's usually against us. So I'm so scared of him. And there's nothing stuff-wise that's scary about him. But I think that's more frustrating because those are the guys that literally you're like, dude, he doesn't even throw hard. Why can't we get a hit right now? You know? Like, what is going on here? And he just looks like he wouldn't be that good. But he's so good, Joey. And I don't feel good about that, even against Criswell. Like, here's the thing. I love the Logan Webb matchup. I don't like the Joe Ryan matchup as well. Also, Pablo Lopez, weird season. So I don't know what to do with that. Obviously, terrible guess by me on the high-low, by the way. That was just me not.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Yeah.
But definitely feels
because he only had one outing where he stunk.
Mm-hmm.
He had the one
absolutely.
four run. Yeah.
Yeah. He might have, I mean, his actual ERA is a 1.6. So you take away his worst outing. Boy. I mean, you also take out his complete game, Maddox, whatever. But yeah, anyway, bad guess. Anyway, Chris Paddock used to be like a really high prospect. I thought he was going to be like so good. He was with the Padres, and he stinks, and that's a shame. I did an MLB The Show team a couple of years ago, and I got him as a rookie, and he was so good for me. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong after. I'm pretty sure I won a Cy Young with him, so I don't really know what happened after that.
It's wild how every single pitch is getting just absolutely crushed. 4-seamer 327, changeup 343, curveball 313, slider 400. Like it's just getting it's getting crushed. Everything's getting crushed. He does no put away pitch.
And I don't understand pitchers who used to be good and then just start being terrible. Like his rookie year, he had a 3.33 ERA in 140 2/3 innings. 23 years old.
It looks like, just looking at his spray charts here, his curve and his slider, like they're so all over the place. They're so wild.
Yeah, but they weren't.
And
They,
his
like,
four seamer, he is like getting a lot of the plate. He's getting a lot of the plate because he's so wild with his other stuff. Like he's trying to get ahead in counts by blowing by guys, and his velocity is just not what it needs to be in order to get swings and misses like that. Like his fastball average is 93.8, and he basically exclusively throws it high down the middle. So that's not a way to get ahead in count. So he's desperate to get strikes and also has no control over his junk. A lot of talk about guys' junk today.
Yeah, I know. A lot of talk out of guys' junk from Joey. I am curious what he threw. I'm trying to find his 2019 velo, but it doesn't seem to be. It's actually worse than some of these years. 93.9 miles per hour. This year's 93.8. So it's not even that. I don't know. He was so good in 2019 as a rookie and has been just bad since.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Jack Flaherty, but not quite as extreme.
No.
Anyway, that's a lot of talk about Chris Paddock, and I apologize. That was my fault.
That's okay. I was happy to do it. I was happy to analyze his. We never do that. So I'm happy to do it. It's something I like to do. I do it on my own time, and then I don't know. We have a baseball show, and I don't do it on here. I don't know why.
I'd argue that is the pitching preview.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But I usually, I don't know.
You don't go that deep.
It is hard hitting news. You're right. It is hard hitting.
You don't go that deep with their junk.
His junk stinks did make me laugh while I was writing it. All right, time to empty our brains of thoughts with Joey and Scott. We got to get a little theme song for that. We'll get a little jingle, like a little emptying our brain of thoughts. Where would we get that? If only we knew somebody who made like fun little baseball music. Just here's some thoughts. Valdez DFA, we talked about it. 2 bombs while interviewing Sox pitchers. We talked about it. Pretty cool to see Yaz at Fenway. And I mean, just to hear the name Yastrzemski in the same sentence as Fenway. Cool to see him hit a homer. And I was listening on the radio to game 1 and hearing Castigs say, and Yastrzemski has that one and it will retire the side. I was like, it's very weird. Very cool. A little bit of a time machine thing there because his grandfather played here. The ball girl got hit in the throat in game 3. Oh my God. I would have quit my job. I would have quit on the spot. I would have cried. The fact that she held it together is absolutely insane. I can't believe she held it together.
Yep. I mean, there's not much to say to that, but I completely agree. I saw that. I couldn't believe that. Like, the way she got hit, I thought this was going to be like when they cut back to her the second time. Like, she's going to play it cool for a second. And then the second time, she was going to be like, oh my God, I'm dying. But she really was just like fine, seemingly, or hiding it better than like, she didn't even do like just no grab. I don't know. Did you see
the reaction of the guy in the front row?
No.
In slow motion as they the ball took that weird bounce and came up and caught her. Guy in the front row, there's a visual thing. You're going to have to go check us out on YouTube. The guy in the front row gave a very comical. Yeah. Saw the whole thing happen right in front of him. Bobby, 7-game on base streak. Bobby immediately optioned to AAA Worcester. This one. Last week, God, my internet is so bad today. I'm so sorry. Last week, we talked about the river in poker, and you were like, what the hell is that? Remember that we did that whole thing?
I was furious about it.
The river monster is their on base thing, and it's baguette of poker. Remember?
Oh.
Yeah, because it's the whole thing. I think it was Valdez got a card on the river that won him a bunch of money, and he was like, I'm the river monster. So it's crazy. I listened back to our episode, and as I was listening to it, I was like screaming at myself. I was like, why did I not bring up the river monster thing? So now I'm bringing that up. Next thing, the Red Sox are on a 91 win pace. Zach Kelly has looked good. Update. Game 3, he really struggled. You can see him pitching tentatively with runners on. It's a little tough. And the last thing here, Uesawa made his debut. A couple of innings for him in his debut. And his picture that they use out in center field is well, they need to retake it. They need to retake it. I don't know if you saw it, but looks
Was it
like
not him?
they need to. No, it's him. It's him. It's him. That would be crazy if they were like they threw up somebody else. No, it was him. Bad picture. They got to retake the photograph. Do you have any thoughts and or a closing thought?
I got one. You can throw it in either category because it's the same thing twice, and we do the same segment twice, and you disagree. I think this could go in either. It's probably more of a closing thought. Not that there's much of a difference. I'm getting really friggin' pissed off at everybody copying you, Joey. All right, there's this guy from the Angels named AAA pitcher. It's AAA pitcher, and he's not only is he doing the same thing as you, but he's captioning it. Who keeps making these? Which is just like an extra fu to Joey Capone. Bradford did it. Now they're doing it. It's pissing me off. It's an ITM thing.
It is an ITM thing. It's a little bit on me for making the caption "Who keeps making these?" because I should have said,
Yeah,
"Hey, look
we've
what I
learned.
made. Look what I made," and then I put a trademark logo on it. So that's a little bit on me. Here's the thing with that Angels guy. Somebody tagged me in it, and I was like, I replied, and I was like, "Oh, this is good," which was a lie. And then that guy, like the Angels guy, replied and was like, "Recognized by the Pioneer," and being called the Pioneer. I mean, listen. One way to my heart. It's exactly one way. It's flattery. So that guy gets a pass because he called me the Pioneer, which was my high school
Not for
mascot,
me.
the Trinity Pioneers. We were the Pioneers.
Then maybe that's all he meant.
Well, that'd be insane if he's like, if I was like, "Hey,
That'd be
good song,"
creepy.
and he's like, "I know what high school you went to. I know where you
Yeah,
live, dude."
that'd be a better way to do it. Yeah, no, not a pass from me. I'm still pissed off about it. I do know that to give you an ode, he has to say like who keeps making these, but also like at the same time, there's a way to do that while giving credit like somewhere and
There certainly is. There certainly is.
getting
Don't get me
pissed
wrong.
off. I hated seeing the comments. It'd be like that were so like, God, what a funny idea by this guy. It's like I hate
Yeah.
you.
Hey, look, it happens. Emulation is the greatest form of flattery. You see what I did? I love flattery so much. Even if people don't give it to me, I search it out or make up excuses to rationalize to myself that they did give it to me.
Hate that guy.
You got anything else?
No, I hate that guy.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm not listen, is what it is. My closing thought is, I hate all these people doing my bit. No, no. My closing thought is Dunkin's has way more donuts than they used to. Like they used to be like, do you remember as kids, like you'd go there and like you'd ask like, "Oh, you got a butternut?" And they'd be like, "Oh, we're out." Like they were always like out of like at least a couple of kinds of donuts.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't. When you say we were kids, I just want to remember that there's a huge age gap. So it
It's
wasn't
like
really like
2
when we
years.
were
It's like
kids.
2 years. It's like 2 years.
I think you're like what are you like a baby boomer or something? And
I'm
like a Gen Z or something.
practically a Gen Z. I'm a Gen Zer. Do you see my hair? I got the flippy hair. I wear a chain. I'm kind of like I like a skateboarder. I'm like I go to the
You've
park
even
with my
painted your
friends.
nails, so yeah, I guess.
Not right now. I didn't. So check that
Yeah.
out. Pretty crazy to be putting videos online on a sports page with painting it, and 0 people have said a thing. 0 people have said a thing. That's actually kind of cool. I actually have really liked the fact that nobody has said anything. It actually is great. I would prefer that over people being like, "Cool, man." Like I prefer that everybody was like,
Yeah.
"Who cares?"
It just
Very
doesn't
cool.
matter.
Thank you, Tristan, Pioneer, Trinity Pioneer, Tristan Cassis. Anyway, yeah, my whole thing was just that Dunkin's. I've had a long streak of going there and asking for obscure donuts, and they always have it. They always have them. So thank you, Dunkin's, for just having more donuts available. I've been eating a lot more donuts lately. That's
Nobody
my closing
say
thought.
I can tell. Nobody say I can tell because that would be mean. Nobody
I
comment
actually
and be like, I can tell.
listen. I looking back at 2022 videos, like being in LA and being in San Diego and whatever. I'm stunned that I looked the way I looked. I can't believe how big I was. And I've done not a lot of working out, obviously no dieting, and I'm down like a lot of weight. Or I have a beard now. It's one or the other.
Yeah,
Might be
I
both.
don't remember. I don't remember you. I would certainly tell you if I thought you were fat, like daily. I would, but I didn't.
I
I don't
know.
remember that.
This is 22. This is 22.
No, but you said San Diego as well, I thought.
Yeah, nope. I was wrong. Just LA. But 22.
Okay. Right.
Pudgy in 22. And then I took the winter of 22 to 23 to just, to like not eat and just drink a lot. I was fine. And then now, thin and eating donuts, and it's, there's a lot of donuts available. So I'll get back there. Don't worry. I'll pack it back on. Another little tiny closing thought here before, my anxiety takes over and I have to go watch the Bruins game 6. I'm shaving my head on Sunday. So if any last minute donations, please get them in. Please donate to these kids who have cancer, because I don't want this to be for nothing, because I'm so mad at myself that I signed up to do this. I'm so mad at myself that I have to cut this off. I'm going to look so much older. I'm going to look scary because I'm not cutting the beard. So I'm just going to be bald with a big beard. I'm going to look 48 years old. So, which is nothing wrong looking 48. If you're 48, I'm not. I'm a kid.
Pretty close.
I'm barely out of high school. I'm a child. Not
No.
close. Not close. Not close at all. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you. We love you.
Where can they donate?
Go to my Twitter. I'm going to tweet it. It's buzzforkids.org.com/ buzzfororg.com.kids.co.government.
You heard him.
Go to my Twitter.
Thursday.
Go to my Twitter. You'll find it there. And I will, I'll put it out there. Put the link there. Would greatly appreciate it. And if you can't donate, would love if you could share it with folks who can. Yeah, I think that's all I got. You got anything else? Insane way to go. Insane way to go.
It's funny. It's funny now at that point.
That
one was funny. That one made me laugh.
Do you got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. You can follow us on the socials at ITM_pod. For Scott Neville, I'm Joey Capone. Psych, you think I'm going to let you go without playing one for Bob for the road?
Swing a high fly ball, twisting deep towards center, way back there and gone. Bobby Dalbec. Bobby D, the Bulldogs wonder. Quadruple ape and the thunder. Look out. The hot got back to rip bombs. Stop dogs and chew over songs. And probably strike out a lot too. He strikes out Dalbec. Like 60% of the time. It's a lot more likely that he strikes out, but he's gonna try his best. It's Bobby Dalbec. It's Bobby Dalbec. It's Bobby Dalbec. That's Bobby D.
And try his best he did. I can't believe this guy never got a shot. They never gave him a fair shake. R.I.P. Bob. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. I know Scott agrees. I know you feel the same. He'll get his shot.
Yeah.
His day will come.
Hopefully he
For Scott Neville, I'm Joey. He could have gotten a few more. God damn it! I did it again. I went to call you Joey Capone. You're not. I am. For Scott Neville. I'm not going to do the outro anymore. There it is. Definitively, I'm not doing that anymore. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Go Sox, kid.